We've all had those little and big missteps in our lives. What if they weren't right or wrong? What if they're just choices on the way to consciousness? Welcome to the Mis-steps of Consciouness TV show with Hayden and Julie.
Cool! Hi everyone! How's all doing? Welcome to the Mis-steps of Consciousness as I close my doors and windows inside. Today, me and Julie are here, Hayden not, and we have Julie O'Perkins and her lovely daughter Christy. Yes? Cool. How's it doing?
Hi, how are you?
Pretty good.
Thanks for being on the show. Thank you for being on the show again.
Yeah, we had a couple audio difficulties last
We
time.
just loved your energy. We just loved your energy so much. We actually staged that. Hayden and I actually staged that. We turned down the microphone so we had to have you and Christy back on, so we could have both of you on the show. That was all a stage. That was, yeah.
Alright, cool. You got anytime? I'll come again.
Oh, sweet. So,
So,
what are we talking about this week?
yeah,
Like,
so Hayden, what are we going to talk with Julie and Christy today on
We-
the show? What's our topic?
we quickly went
What's our
over it.
conversation today?
We quickly went over it like 3 minutes before we decided to go live, which is awesome because it's just awesome. And we were talking about faking it and how a lot of people do just fake their lives and just so much fakeness in everything.
And I'm probably not talking about, we know people fake it, but I'm talking about when we fake it.
Oh, when we...
I know I do it a lot, and I do it a lot around people that don't use the access consciousness tools or are very unconscious. I really notice that's where I really fake it. So, yeah, that's where I would like our conversation to, go today. But, it can go anywhere we like it to go. But have you, any of you, have you noticed that? Like, I've noticed the more of the people that are unconscious, and it shows when I'm not actually willing to really step up and create in that space, and I actually become very less, and then it's like I don't even exist. So, Julie, Christy, jump in any time, because I know I'll talk.
What I'm really curious about is what do you notice about what's happening for you and with you in your body when you get that sense that you're being fake? What's going on in your body and in your head thoughts?
Well, my head, my body starts to really contract. I become really aware of other people's universes and their realities. And then I'm aware of what else is going on. It's like all this information's coming in, and I'm really aware. And it's like it's like that I'm not giving myself permission to go, fuck this, I'm aware of this, I'm going to be me. It was like, and it really happened in the car, I
Yeah.
noticed when I sweared and the other person in the car, I was really aware of her judgment of what she was being. And for me, it was like, it was not, I just was not allowing myself to give my permission. It was like permission to be me. And my body started really contracting, And one thing that really noticed is I got stressed. I was so stressed because it was a big event that I organized. And I was so
Have you experienced the fake you? What happens for you?
Yeah. I go really small. I start buying into points of views. I start acting like everyone around me. It's that biomimetic mimic. Like, this goes straight into biomimetic mimicry. And I've noticed I do it a lot around girls. So, so I'm in a room with women. How did I get so lucky?
You're not doing it with Christy right now, Hayden.
No. Whoops. Yes. Everything that brings up times the guns straight uncreated all. Shorts, boys, and beyonds. Yeah. Cool.
That's interesting, because what I've noticed is that when I'm like truly being me around my friends or around boys or anybody really, like I get called fake when I'm truly being me.
Oh.
And then when I start acting like them, and when I become fake for me, I'm like, oh, you're being yourself again. Like that's what I get from them then. But when I'm truly being me and being with myself, I get called fake. So that's interesting.
Huh.
Wow, this is so curious. It's really interesting to me. So I get that the fake me is, again, very similar to everything that everybody said, and kind of that desire to fit in. I will do whatever to just sort of slide on in under the radar, just to not be detected as different.
Yeah.
And so if that means being fake or whatever, or being like the greatest mom at the PTO meeting, the parent-teacher organization meeting, and things like that, then that's what I'll do. And recently, I've discovered that with all this awareness, I wonder what all of us could create from this, because we're also aware of what's happening.
Yeah.
It's just what do we do with that, right?
Yeah.
And so what I've become aware of that as a healer, and I would say I'm a healer. How about you, Christy? Are you a healer? Yeah? Hayden, how about you? Truth, are you a healer?
Yes.
Yeah. Julie, how about you? Are you a healer?
No, I'm not a healer. I'm not a healer. No.
Right. And what's really curious about that is Dr. Dane here of Access has recently said that we all have healing capacities, and that to deny them is to actually disavow, like not recognize and not acknowledge, as they say in Access, a part of us, a piece of us, and that whether you choose to be like full-on healer is different than acknowledging your healing capacities. And so where I go fake was that I said I have to actually jump into the world and, like Hayden was saying, biomimetic mimic them in a situation and energy to understand it, because I can't heal it unless I experience it, because then I'll know what it's like, and then I can understand it, and then I can heal it. You do that too? I have so much in common. Wild.
Well, that's so correct, because I know that's, to understand it. So if you understand it, then you can heal it. Then just being the healer that you truly be, and just heal by the energy that you be. Wow.
Exactly. And so I think we're there because we have the awareness of what it's creating in our bodies. What happens with us. We feel small, we feel contracted, we don't feel like ourselves, it doesn't feel natural, we feel maybe even crawly in our skin a little bit, because it's just like, maybe it's like you're,
I like the word you said, natural. I did not see me being natural yesterday. I was cranky. I was, I really wanted to hurt people yesterday. Still really acknowledging that energy was there. I didn't want to avoid it. That was the difference, probably for me yesterday. Instead
allowed to. We can't do that. I'm sorry. Not allowed to anymore. Mm-mm.
I think we're too pathetic. Everything that is.
Yeah.
Almost bringing up. Double lifetimes too. How many old souls do we have here?
Oh.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, because it's really that choice point. We talked a little bit about choice last time we talked about what that creates. So it's, that awareness without taking it on, as they say, without the experience of it. The body is the sensory piece of us that has the experiences of the sensations, the contraction, or the expansion, or the aggravation, and the cranky, and all of that. And so, how can we get to the place of thank you, body, for the awareness? And you don't have to take it on. You don't have to take it a step further.
Yeah.
That was I was going to ask.
The awareness.
Thank you. You just picked up that awareness from it. That's what I want to talk about. How much of us do take it on, and there was something yesterday I did take it on, and when I was aware of that, I wasn't aware of that at the time, when it was going on, that it was more the after effects. And I noticed that something for me that does come up a lot, and I know Hayden and I, we have these conversations a lot. It is the after effect that we are aware that we take it on.
Yeah.
So it'd be, I would love to start choosing when I'm in that I can then be so aware in those 10 seconds I'm taking it on, instead of choosing the after effect of, and this is brilliant because it was only 4 or 5 hours after. Usually it used to be like years or 10 years or like the after effects, and now it's like 4 hours. That's brilliant. So I do acknowledge that. What I would really, get the practice and really practice is in those 10 seconds when I do choose to take it on and have that awareness. So what else could we be doing? And it's not just be doing. What else, Julie and Christy, that you could, like, we could talk about, the after effect. I call it the after effect.
The after effect. Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I get that when I've had it happen on radio shows and stuff where I've said things that I thought would like sound the best, and they was like, oh, I should say this because then it'll make me seem professional and smart and people will want to listen to the show. But afterwards, I just feel like, oh wow, I didn't even mean any of those things that you said. And it feels really just like not like me. I'm like, oh, that didn't contribute to the show at all. That didn't contribute to me or anything at all. And it's like there's so much judgment of myself going on and perceiving other people's judgment that I end up just like conforming to it and trying to like track it and follow that energy instead of just being me, which doesn't include judgment, or doesn't feed off of judgment and doesn't follow the judgment. So that's it's nice. It just feels like yucky, when you're being fake you. It's not a fun feeling. You're not a fun. Yeah, exactly. and so I'm aware when we do our radio shows. Well, when we did our shows together, I was aware that she was tapping into the audience. She was tapping into me as her parent, and I was tapping into all the other parents. And then we were tapping into each other. And then it's like, well, wait a minute. So we actually instituted the only you zone or something, we called it like that, where during the show, no judgment. You can say whatever you want, whatever needs to be said. There's no judgment, and to talk about what Christy said is that only you and no judgment zone was the thing. So going into it, this space once a week for us was anything goes except for judgment. And that really, I think, encouraged us to just take a break from that and really show up and just get really highly curious was the other thing. It's like, so she would say something, or I would say something, and the other one of us would go, instead of going to like, what? We were like, curious, what, tell me more about that. It's really interesting, tell me more about that. And the concept that I like to talk about is in coaching, I'm a certified life coach, and we talk a lot about detached involvement. You're involved in the conversation, you're present with your energy, yet you're detached from the emotion of it, which is of the body. So if you can, have your body as the awareness indicator, just to give you the information, but stay out of the emotion of it and say, body, you can give me information, but you cannot be the emotion radar chip right now, because emotion just ends up being like, what did you just say to me? Oh my god, it just ends up not getting you anywhere.
Yeah.
Which may be what's required sometimes, and if it is, you don't need to be all caught up in it in order to get to that place. Yeah, it's much easier to just talk in that detached but involved manner. Yeah, so it's detached from the emotion that for us, and I think this is what you're asking us. For us, emotion was the road to judgment.
Huh.
It was like just the fast lane to judgment really quickly. And then I was saying, I tried to track the judgment and follow it. That's what the emotion was. Trying to track it with sadness or anger or lashing out. So.
When you two were talking, I can see sometimes when Hayden and I get into that emotion conversation, and then we track it down. I could see us, we do that. And so it's interesting because a lot of people say you need to, especially in yoga, you need to connect with your emotion. You need to step into your emotion. And I see people actually getting lost with their emotions, and I see people not connected and like that. And so what you're saying, and it's such a different concept, is when you do connect with that emotion, and correct me if I'm incorrect or correct, but it's like when you do connect with that emotion, it's like then you follow that track, and that's where you go into judgment and you get lost and all like that. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, for us, that's how it works for us.
Yeah.
Huh.
A couple really passionate, emotional people here, and so the emotion's like our autobahn to judgment. It's like 100 miles an hour. So we're like, maybe we shouldn't do that.
Huh.
Maybe we shouldn't do it. And it's a process. It takes a while. We got good on the show. It takes a while to process when we're now at home. A lot of the emotions, from an access point of view, anger, rage, fury, hate, those strong emotions are distractors.
Yeah.
So when you're talking blame, shame, regret, guilt, some of those are distractors from really being you, which is how we started the conversation about how to be you and not be fake.
With that,
So
I like how you said that you go home and you continue to do it there, and you just don't stop doing it. It's not like, oh, we're doing our radio show for an hour, let's be conscious here. You're constantly working at it, creating change with the emotions, and that's just exponentializing and creating more and more and more on top. Yeah.
it took a while to build the muscle, wouldn't you say? Yeah. Sometimes it was hating, okay, 1 hour a week. That was good.
Yeah.
But we're like, okay, we got 1 hour a week.
Woo!
Yay, us, go us. I was like, that we do, you know. It's a process, and you know, it's a choice, and then once you build the muscle a little bit, you'll be able to tell. So every one of us here already has the awareness of when we're going into that place. And so what would it take to just pause and choose maybe something different, or not? Like the other day, I was driving in the car, and Christy said, "It's just traffic, Mom." And I said, "I know." And she said, "Are you ready to change that?" And I said, "No, I want to be mad right now at traffic." She said, "Okay then." And 20 seconds later, I was out of it. But you know, I'm like, no, I don't. I want to hang on to this right now.
And you know that's okay. That's okay. Yesterday, I had this Christian woman in my car holding her Bible, and I was going, "Fuck this!" I was like, I was willing to hold. I was going, "Fuck off! Fuck this!" She didn't stay around for long with me after that.
That's not being fake, you, Julie. I think that was real Julie. What do you think? Yeah.
And then I was, you know, not willing to let go of that. So it was really, you know, you know, I was honoring myself. But it was very, by honoring myself, and this is probably when we're being ours and honoring ourselves, it was very intense for me. And I don't mean intense, it was an intense that I hadn't experienced before. Like it was really intense of me going, yeah, really honoring myself. Like I knew, I was aware I was getting judged in my own car. So I did have a point of view, and there was a lot of entities and demons in my car too. So it was a really interesting of honoring myself. So it was like, I can describe it. It was like I was going from fake Julie to Julie. Fake Julie to Julie. And it was like going out where I was still being really nice to this lady, where I was like, fuck this, I want to change this. Like, fuck, you know, I'm not in service. And can we talk a little bit about in service and of service? Because that's what really was coming up of really being in service, being polite to people, being nice to people. Like, people were just assholes yesterday. People were just stupid, and wow, I don't have a charge on that. People were just really being stupid. Like, having one person for a car park for 500 cars? Like, what? Sorry, that's awareness. That's not just, that's insanity.
Yeah. Agree. So the service thing. So first of all, what are you getting about Julie in the car? Does that feel like potency rising to you too? Well, yeah. So I'm wondering if we can ask you a question. Can we ask you a question, Julie?
Yeah.
What potency are you using that you truly could be choosing? That if you did choose it would change everything?
Yes.
Yeah, and everything that is, you know, what it brings up, destroy and uncreate.
Yep.
Right, wrong, good, bad, popcorn, ice, shorts, boys, and mouse. Because sometimes we get that way too. Both of us know that kind of outburst.
Can I bring something up? Because this, can
Yeah.
I bring the potency that was coming up in the car? So if I was that as a little girl, and it's, you know, may still have a little bit of a story, if I went, fuck this, and then really exploded like I was doing in the car, I'd be locked in a cage. Like, my parents used to put me in a shed and used to try to contain me. So
invited, you know, it's always been punished or persecuted or threatened or harmed or killed or destroyed or locked up or everything that is destroyed and all that.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Right, all this stuff, talk about all these swords, boys, and beyonds. Because, you know, that kind of, like, Christy and I do that. We're like, we'll go, fuck, in the car, and it just clears something. Sometimes it's just, you know, so you're talking about demons and entities, you know, how much of that was just like what you do and your body was required to just like, hey, me in the car, that's it, and only guests that I'm inviting. Fuck, everybody else, you know, out of here.
Cool.
Because it was little things, like, you know, for me, it was cutting off my awareness, having so many demons and things, like, you know, knowing to turn, you know, listening to a person's conversation to where, it just, you know, in the end, like, it was just like, yeah, that potency, like that energy of like, fuck off. And I'll do it when I'm on my own. So can we talk about the difference of doing it on your own, being like, I'm willing to be that, I'll be that energy. But when someone else, an entity, she was Christian, like, and I am bringing up the Christian, because, I mean, it was very interesting, like, I'm not making her wrong about having a Bible, but sitting in the car, holding a Bible, was so, I was still pissing myself laughing, because I created that. What's the difference of that I'm willing to be that on my own, but not in front of other people?
Since, like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna ask,
Okay, no, go on.
is that the hiding of potency? Like, where we hide our potency and everything that it can ever create in the world when we do that?
It feels an awful lot like that. That feels really like to me. Yeah. Because, you know, that's an aspect of you that you have, that you've been hiding, because it always hasn't gone so well before to show that, or be that. Use that, right? You know, so you're just like,
Yep.
yeah, so it's just like, oh yeah, okay. And so how do you do it? Like I get, for me, I get that if I can be that as a healer, I kind of manipulate myself. Like if I really show up as me, I can contribute to other people. So I kind of manipulate myself to show up as me. So that's how I do it around other people.
Huh.
And it's becoming less and less, but in the beginning I was like, oh well, I can't get out of my own way for myself, but I can certainly help this other person, and so this person's asking for a contribution, so I really better show up as me and, you know, contribute to this situation. So that's one way that I get used to coming in to being in service of people. By the request, not if they're not asking, instead of in service to, because servitude is the energy of enslavement. When you get hooked into, and you get trapped, and you get to be a slave to the situation or to the person. So, yeah, I mean,
And that's the energy. That's the energy. That's the energy yesterday.
yeah.
Hmm.
And
For me.
for me, it's always like, when I'm showing up as me, it's the exact opposite. Like, I convince myself, or like, I manipulate myself, and I'm like, oh, I don't have to be in service to other people. Like, I don't have to be a contribution to this person. Fuck you, this person. Like, just be in that, like, bucket mood is when I seriously show up as me. And then I remember one morning I was just having like a terrible morning. I was pissed off, and I walked into school, and then all of a sudden, like, all the people who I didn't want to see just kind of drifted away from me. Like, everything that wasn't contributing to me just kind of dissolved around me, and all the stuff that was came right to me, and I was like, whoa, that's awesome. Cool. So I feel like it works both ways. Yeah. That's funny. I manipulate myself from the human, from the healer aspect, and you manipulate yourself from the humanoid. You can't do this aspect. Yeah. When you tell a humanoid they can't do something, and they go and they do it anyway, right?
Yeah.
So that's funny. We kind of, whatever it takes is what we've committed to. Is that we're just going to be a contribution, and we're going to get over this stuff and really show up more and more and more as ourselves. And it's really amazing. We just took the COP, the Choice of Possibilities, recently here in Denver with Dr. Dane here, and that was in August. And he said that, people are still learning to commit to their lives, to really showing up as them. And they're still only at best 20 to 30% of that, which means that 80 or 70% is still being used against you and against the contribution that you can be. So everywhere that you can, anything that we can do to be aware of when we're going into these places, what would it take? Destroy and create anything that doesn't allow us to be, know, perceive, and receive the contribution we truly be when we're being us.
Yeah.
Destroy and create all that.
Yes.
Yes.
So that hot pot on my shorts, boys.
And that's another week done, and another great episode. Hope you all enjoyed it as much as Hayden and Julie did. See you next episode.